The Boao Forum for Asia has kicked off in South China's Hainan province on April the 18th after a year-long hiatus due to the COVID-19 epidemic. The forum was founded 20 years ago this year by 29 member states, including China, in order to promote economic integration in Asia. What has the forum achieved in its past 20 years, and what can we expect moving forward? To find out, I'm joined here in Beijing by Professor Rong Ying, Vice President of the China Institute of International Studies, and via Skype we have Dr. Lim Tai Wei, Senior Research Fellow Adjunct at Singapore's National University. Gentlemen, welcome to The Point. Professor Rong, now the theme for this year's Forum for Asia is a world in change, join hands to strengthen global governance and advance Belt and Road Initiative cooperation. Now it's clear the backdrop of this year's forum is the global economic recession or sluggishness due to the COVID-19 epidemic. Do you think these two aspects, especially global governance and the Belt and Road Initiative or cooperation in this field, do you think these aspects are relevant to what the world needs to address at this moment?
Indeed, I think the themes of this year's forum is very much, I think, timely and relevant in the sense that we are living in a world that is undergoing dramatic, unprecedented changes and transformation. Particularly, I think, if you look at the political and economic landscapes, and also complicated with the ongoing COVID-19, and we are now in the region, in Asia and beyond, facing a lot of challenges and new issues that would have to be looking for ideas, solutions. So I think the theme goes that the question, of course, is all related. A lot of them related to how to bridge or how to address the governance deficits. And it seems that at least the theme goes that it arguing that to do that, I think BRI, the Belt and Road Initiative, is one of the sort of way or one of the vision that would help to address these differences, these problems. I think they are very much looking forward to that with great expectation, even though I think we have just 1 year elapsed because of the COVID-19.
This year marks the forum's 20th anniversary. Dr. Lim, what do you think has been achieved over the past 20 years thanks to the event? Some people might look at this just as a talk shop. I mean, what is your observation?
Well, I think the region as a whole is very pro-free trade and pro-economic integration. And in this context, Boao plays a very important role for the past 2 decades by promoting dialogue, regional cooperation, and also economic integration. I think after over 20 years, you can really see from the participation of large numbers of stakeholders, about 4,000 in this recent Boao Forum. You can see that the forum has become very important in promoting economic cooperation, multi-stakeholder dialogue between private sector, governments, semi-governmental organizations, media organizations, as well as the person on the street within the region. So I think it has gone beyond just an event that is exchanging information, but actually actualizing cooperation and deals between companies and countries, as well as other organizations, including non-governmental organizations and private sector. I think this is probably the crowning glory of 2 decades of dedicated hard work.
Well, a Chinese leader is expected to participate in person in a series of events in the forum. That is thanks to the effective control by China of the coronavirus. So, Mr. Rong, what kind of message do you think is being sent with the appearance of the Chinese leader?
Well, I think certainly there are a lot the participants would like to have from the Chinese leaders. As a matter of fact, I think the Chinese leadership, top leadership, President Xi himself in particular, have paying a great attention, attach great importance to the success of forum. I think President Xi himself has attended 3 times. The first, of course, 2013, and then 2015, and the last one, 2018. Each time when he speaks at the forum, he come up with Chinese sort of visions, Chinese contributing Chinese wisdom, and provide Chinese solutions to the issues that we are discussing. So there are expectations that for this forum, when a Chinese leaders come up, and I think he would also come up with his views, China's vision, China's ideas, and China's solutions to the issues we're discussing. And of course, I think the region as a whole and the world as a whole is very much complicated, and of course, and China would working together with other stakeholders and also the leaders to work together to improve the deficit, as I said, to address the deficit, the government deficit, and working together to jointly promote building BRI and also other initiatives, so that the region and the world as a whole will have a better way to ahead.
Dr. Lim, what kind of expectations there are from other Asian countries to hear the message coming from this Chinese leader that's expected to make its appearance, and what do you think is likely to be said, at this particular juncture under the backdrop of this coronavirus and the economic havoc it has wreaked in economies around the world?
Well, I think there are 3 important takeaways for other Asian countries. The first important takeaway is, of course, climate change. The Boao Forum has made it a very important topic for discussion. And climate change is something that can unite the world. As your program has mentioned, even the US and China are cooperating in this aspect after a very successful sort of exchange between the 2 countries. So Asian countries expect to be able to dip into China as well as other leading Asian Pacific nations' technologies, whether it is water pumps that can pump out the water to prevent tides from rising, solar power panels, which China is one of the leading players, or any other technologies that other countries can tap into to mitigate this global problem that is going to affect everyone. Second big sort of elephant in the room is probably the pandemic that's going on. Right now, the pandemic has made some progress with regards to vaccination. Progress is not enough. And so all the leading vaccine producers in the world, whether it's China, US, UK, or other players, need to sort of help the rest of the Asian countries and other regions keep up and catch up with the front runners when it comes to vaccination. Mm-hmm. And in this sort of convention, Boao Forum, you can see that best practices can be visible with constant disinfection, temperature checks, plexiglass obstacles, as well as the consistent readings by robotic technologies of anyone that's 37 degrees Celsius and above to be isolated. So this is a sort of a model for international events to sort of be organized in the new normal of the pandemic. Not to mention, the economic fallout of the pandemic will require a lot of wisdom from the Boao Forum participants to handle as well.
Speaking of economics, according to a latest Boao Forum report using purchasing power parity, Asian economies have already accounted for over 47% of the global economy, almost 1% higher than the percentage in 2019. So, Mr. Rong, what does this mean for global governance? Is Asia's importance duly reflected in its say on the international stage?
Yeah, I think we have certainly taken notice, and the world in particular, that the Asia as a whole is now playing a more and more important role in terms of economic growth and I think the development in general. But if you look at the governance, global governance structure per se, one would naturally find that there's a kind of lagging behind effect. And the Asian countries and the developing emerging economies in particular have called upon a reform or restructuring of that governance system to reflect the real nature, the reality of that. Because as China and Asian countries grows and they're making contribution, they would like to make a contribution to that. But how that, so that would be reflected in that ongoing reform and restructuring of a multilateral mechanism or institution is a big question. Certainly there are some resistances, there are some progresses, but I think all in all, only the changes or the restructuring of that governance system reflect the real nature of that changes, of the contribution, of the balance, economic balance of power that is ongoing. Then we will be able to have a more effective, result-oriented governance that reflects the real nature of the world.
Okay, many thanks, Dr. Lim Tai Wei, Senior Research Fellow Adjunct at Singapore's National University, and Rong Ying, Vice President of the China Institute of International Studies.